Hi, guys. Welcome to Prim and Proper Sports. I'm your host, Sonia. Happy Wednesday. We are October 16th, 2024. And, it's been a busy NFL week. Without further ado, I have my one and best co host, my brother from another mother, Fern, joining me. We're going to be chatting about some football tonight. Fern, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing good. What's going on, Sonya? I'm back. I'm back. I'm happy to be back.
I know. Let me tell you, I had all my little settings set
Mhm.
up when the show started, and now it's just like, okay, the video doesn't want to play to like have me introduction.
Mhm.
So, everybody, come on in, say hello to us. We are live. Fern, how was your day? While I get ready to share this video, how was your
It
day?
it was great. How was yours?
It was good, busy.
Mhm.
Such is life. Um, and everything.
Counselor?
And it's cold here in Atlanta. This morning woke up 40 degrees at the airport.
Yep.
Like just 8 more degrees and we will be at freezing. And
Yep.
it's still October, but I'm not gonna be fooled by this Georgia weather because we see
Nope.
sneak previews all the time of a real winter or a real fall, and then it's 80 next week, right,
And
Fern?
it will be 80 next week. I checked the weather, so
I
don't
saw
be
that
fooled.
like 79 next Friday. I'm like, no, like,
Yep.
can we just have a real fall? I always tell the story. The first fall that I moved here, Thanksgiving, it was 80 degrees, and I was like not happy about
Mhm.
that. I was like,
Mhm.
no, what's happening here? So, all right, so we got a lot. Let's go ahead and get the elephants out the room. Both of our teams lost this week. But Drake May, I mean, I don't know, Fern. What was your opinion of him getting his start as quarterback, NFL debut?
Just like any other rookie, it's going to take time for him to get it together. He had a pretty good outing, from what I understand. Um, when we look at rookie quarterbacks, for some reason, our expectations are usually more than what they have to give. So
Mm,
anytime I set very low expectations for rookie quarterbacks, especially in their first games. So anytime they exceed that, then I'm like, yeah, this may be, an opportunity for them to really, showcase what's to come.
mm-hmm,
Uh, but you also got to understand, they have a process that they have to go through with so much pressure. And that's why I'm so happy that the Atlanta mindset, I call it the Atlanta mindset, what the Falcons are doing with Michael Penix, it was just a heck of an idea, giving that guy time to really develop and get all his kinks out, learn, sit back, see how fast, adjust to the speed of, the NFL versus college football. But Drake May, I think he has the potential. We wanted to trade up to get him, but they didn't want to give him away. So I think he's going to be all right.
yeah, Carolina native coming in. We always talk about the acclimation from the college world into the NFL. So that's going to
Hmm.
be important to see who, the type of leadership that he is, around and gets an exposure to.
Yeah,
And then that's going to solidify, how he acclimates because, they come in with so much talent.
they
And,
do.
but I always say, and it's almost like a phrase that I could just put out there that coming into the league as a Heisman Trophy winner or what have you, it's
Hmm.
just not the same. When you're at college you're competing with everybody, and you
Yep.
get to the NFL and it's the best of the best. So you really have to be above and beyond on and off the field and injury
Hmm.
free. So it's a
Hmm.
combination of things. You have to make sure you have the right people in place, both on the field and off the field, to make sure you stay balanced and that you're getting the information you need and acclimating to the NFL so that you can be successful. Some of our bigger success stories often talk about their mentorship from other athletes from the past.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sent mind those guys and learning from them and allowing themselves to learn in the break in. I mean, that makes all the difference.
Yeah, we had five rookie quarterbacks starting this Sunday. It's almost like a couple of seasons ago. I think they said it was a total of 20 something that were
Hmm.
started due to
Hmm.
injury and what have you, different teams,
Hmm.
productivity issues on and off the field. But now we're seeing 5, and Jaden Daniels is balling out with the Commanders. I know that's up there in the NFC East in your neck of the woods.
Mm,
Um, and the Panthers actually have them coming up soon. They've named
mhm.
Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback, despite having only won that one game against the Raiders. They're still saying that they are not going to be turning to Bryce anytime soon. Speaking of, well, not rookie quarterbacks anymore, but he's in his second year. But we got a lot of big news. Fern, what do you think before we go into that big news? What do you think? Who do New York have coming up, and what do you think they need to do to get the game taken into the direction this next game coming up?
Oh, the Giants defense played lights out when we
They
played
did.
Cincinnati. I mean, they played lights out. I was so proud. I haven't seen a defense like that since 2000, 2011, 12, when we won our last Super Bowl. So was kind of the that was the best part of my evening, being able to watch that defense go out and make the stops. The offense, we go back to the same old thing. I wasn't, fooled by Daniel Jones. Really good outing. He's been okay the last couple of weeks. He is who he is, and unfortunately, we gotta suffer through it this season. This is our last year with him, most likely, and hopefully grab a quarterback, in the draft that can, get us to that next level. Colin Coward. I keep repeating this statement that Colin Coward said. Um, his his statement was the Giants is a quarterback away from being contenders, and I'm not just talking about playoff contenders. He's talking about Super Bowl contenders because they have all the dynamics to be a great team, but they need a quarterback. And I totally agree with him. I mean, we need a quarterback that can get the ball to receivers, be able to find receivers on open routes, be able to make split, decisions on a run. Daniel Jones is just not that guy, and
Yeah.
he's holding us back tremendously. And that's the most disappointing part, right? Watching him, knowing what we have in place, and watching him and like, man, we're one piece away, and that piece I'm almost certain will be handled next year. But then also you got a rookie that's coming in, right? But if you protect them against that offensive line, we got a great offensive line, even though we lost Andrew Thomas for the season. I'm not too upset about that, right? Let AT get healthy. I don't think this season is going to be something we're going to need him as much. Let him go get healthy, come back next year and be ready to ball because we have a really good team to put together. Now, going on to this week, we play the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, if there's one game that I want to
Oh,
win, that's that game. I want to win that game. Watching,
yeah.
unfortunately Saquon went there.
Your
It'll be
own
his
decision,
homecoming.
yes.
Yeah, it'll be his homecoming. So I'm interested to see how the fans are going to react there. Listen, I wish the best to Saquon. I don't have any issues with him. I was kind of upset that he chose Philly for $1 million more. He felt like the Giants disrespected him. It's business. I understand that. But that two-headed monster we have in the backfield with Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary, I'm good to go with them. Let's move on. Tyrone Tracy is playing out of his mind right now. Great running back for the future for us. Singletary was hurt the last couple of games. He should be back. So should Malik Neighbors this coming game for Philly. So this is gonna be a game. It's gonna be probably a sold out event. So I'm excited about that. If our defense can play the way they played these last two outings, I can see us, being competitive in that game and possibly, hopefully, winning it.
That's going to be really big, and of course, wishing you all the best with that. I've got to do a quick. I think I can figure it out real quick. Got to shout out to our affiliates on the Roku network. Let me see if I can't get this to go. Let's see. Nope. Looks like it's going to be a no go. So shout out to Lynn and Mac over there. Roku, NESSP, all our sponsors, Fanatics. Woo, just a lot going on tonight. A lot of big stuff in the Huddle Sports Network as well. So Fern, as because this time flies by really fast. Um,
Hmm.
Aaron Rodgers looks like he's getting his wish of a reconciliation with Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers now has moved 8 players from Green Bay to the New York Jets, or I like to call them the New Jersey Jets because they're not really the New York Jets. Let's be clear.
Oh,
What are your thoughts On that, Aaron making GM moves, Devontae, basically saying, I'm going to basically leave, or I'm going to leave. I'm
Mhm,
going to retire if you guys don't trade me, Raiders, because I
mhm,
don't want to be here anymore. What
mhm.
are your thoughts on that?
It's a going joke that Aaron Rodgers chose the Jets because they had the green they had green in their in their colors, and it's very recognizable, very similar to Green Bay. I'm I'm just being I'm being a clown. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers, when you have a career as he had, um, you get to help make those decisions, right? You put the request in, to the general manager, head coach, which they just switched their head coach. I think he had a lot to do with Salah being let go. I do feel
Yeah,
that way, But when you're that talented, you make those decisions. So now it rests on his shoulders. I watched that Jets and Bills game. I don't know necessarily. Garrett Wilson's my guy. He's been playing lights out. He got Adam Lazard. I don't know if that's going to solve all their problems. I'm curious to see how Devontae Adams. Now Devontae Adams is used to playing with A Rod. He's the number one receiver playing with him. He's a little older now. He does have Garrett Wilson on that other side, and on paper it looked lights out. But it's going to be interesting. How that's going to play out. I still think Buffalo is going to win that division. I'm just not too sure that A Rod can really, I mean, bringing Devontae Adams in is just going to be like, wow, we're going to start, we're going to go on a run, we're going to start winning games. I don't know what's wrong. I'm curious to, the Jets, when my, just my conception of the Jets before the season was they have a really good defense, and add Aaron Rodgers, give him a shot. They improved their offense tremendously. They got a great running game, but I don't know if it's play calling. I'm just confused because they are supposed to be way better than what they are now.
yeah.
So I'm curious to see what Devontae Adams is going to bring to them. I know everybody's, oh, he's going to bring this and that. Hey, listen, I get it, but I'm still not sure that that's going to solve all their woes. But I'm very curious to see what happens with the Devontae Adams with pickup.
Yeah, I have to be honest. And hello to Dennis Cochran and the Trailer Park Country Band coming on saying hello. They, of course, just left Nissan Stadium last Sunday performing before the Titans game, them and Citizens Band, and just a nationally, known group right now. They're throughout the country going to different tailgates and coming to a tailgate near you. So if you're a fan, go ahead and drop it in there. If you guys would like to invite Dennis and his crew all the way from South Dakota
Oh,
over to
wow.
your neck of the woods. And they've been at the draft. They're recognized by NFL teams. Just really, really big band. And check out their single, Tailgate Crazy. Very cool song and very awesome. I have a different opinion about Aaron Rodgers. So I feel like he basically picked the weakest team that he could go in and pretty much play manager, quarterback, owner, all of that wrapped up in one. And I kind of said earlier on the show tonight with Mac and crew that I felt like Aaron is basically trying to be Tom Brady without earning it at this point. I feel like the names used to be kind of synonymous until Tom Brady pulled way away with more rings and more championships. And now the talks are not as common as they once were, where you're like, oh, Tom Brady. And it just was natural to say Aaron Rodgers. Now it's just Tom Brady is in a class all by himself. And I feel that Aaron Rodgers, in his own right, could be in that type of class. But instead, you're throwing your players under the bus, like he threw Mike Williams under the bus the other day on a botched play. They ended up in an interception. In fact, Adam Schefter came out about 2 hours ago and said Mike Williams did not practice today, listed personal reasons for not practicing, and his name is now in trade rumors. So just that freaking quick, your quarterback has a press conference and throws you under the bus. You could see quarterbacks, we've seen it over the years, Fern. They might be like, hey, we weren't on the same page. Aaron didn't say that. Aaron was just like, "Oh yeah, he messed it up, and I had to like overcorrect my play and step at a different angle just to try to connect with him, and I still missed." Like you put all of that blame on him. No wonder he's not showing up today. And I don't know if the trade is what he's requesting or if it's been requested by Aaron since now he's firing coaches, and he's not going to be happy until he basically gets Green Bay relocated in New York.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, 8 players.
yeah, Aaron Rodgers, man, he's one of the most talented quarterbacks, but one of the most underachieving talented quarterbacks.
Right.
He has one ring to his name, and I think a lot of that has to do with his attitude and his approach to the game. He has a very, in my opinion, narcissistic approach to the game.
Exactly. That's
Um,
exactly what I was
it's
thinking.
all it's all about him. Um, he leverages his talent to teams that are willing to feed into it.
His
Um,
ego.
yeah, his ego. He comes in and he leaves a path of destruction. Where he goes. Now, granted, Aaron Rodgers is one of my favorite quarterbacks, but he's not a winner, right? So
Mhm.
I get it. Talent versus winning is two entirely different things. I believe that Aaron Rodgers is twice as talented as Tom Brady, or
Yeah.
was.
But
But Tom
he
Brady
was
was a
doing it
pure
single
one.
handedly. Mm-hmm.
But Tom Brady is a pure winner. So I'll take a winner
Mm-hmm.
any day. It's going to be interesting these next couple of weeks how everything goes down. Aaron Rodgers, if Devontae Adams, that if that trade doesn't put them in contention, at least playoff contention, then I don't know. I'm not sure how long Aaron Rodgers is going to be with the Packers. I think he'll bow out himself. He'll point the finger at somebody else, and the Jets at that point have become an enemy, and he'll leave and possibly retire or go to another team. Um, but I'm just very curious to see how all of that plays out.
Yeah, and speaking of Tom Brady is now part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's apparently reached out to Bill Belichick to see if he's interested in being the next coach of the freaking Raiders.
No.
Antonio Pierce is on thin ice out there, and this all came out this afternoon as well. They said it took a little bit of while because you all know Tom has some sketchy stuff going on with Bitcoin, so they were just making sure his money was not funny before they went through with the deal. And now
Mhm.
it's a wrap. He's part owner of the Raiders, and he's definitely reached out to his old friend Bill to see if he'd be interested in coming. I think that's a win-win. But I mean, Antonio Pierce, you didn't even give the guy, that much chance. He came in as an interim. You gave him one solid season, and I don't know how quick this is going to happen. But I like to say when Shefty says something, it's almost gospel because it's like where there's smoke, there's fire, and the fire's already there. It's literally within a day or two of him speaking something that it's like, bam, there it is. So, yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't hear that. I'm not sure why if they was to make that move, why they would do it. Antonio Pierce fits that culture, that team perfectly. It's just going to take a little time for him to build the team how he wants it. Now, Bill Belichick, he's a dinosaur. You're bringing in a guy from the if that was true, I'm not sure how true it is, but from what I understand, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady don't really see eye to eye,
Right. They
for most
didn't.
issues. So to see that, I think Bill Belichick is past his time, and I think he knows that too. He's not going to be able to relate to this generation of players, So I think that would be a bad move if they did do that. I say
Mm-hmm.
give Antonio Pierce another 1 or 2 seasons. Let him build that roster the way he wants to. Get him a little bit more help. Get him to draft. Get him a quarterback. Let him build that team up and change the culture. Players follow him, so it's unfortunate that Devontae Adams, you know, Devontae Adams, let's make it clear. Devontae Adams was having problems with the Raiders prior to Pierce getting there, period.
Mm.
He
He
it just
was.
he did not want to be there, and
Mm-hmm.
and he did, and he showed that. So that attitude transitioned to the Antonio Pierce era. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to, I don't really want to put it all on Antonio Pierce. I think Devontae Adams was out of there in the first place. Let Antonio build that team from the ground up, give him an opportunity a year or two, and then make a decision after that. That's my opinion.
Yeah, speaking of, drama in the locker room,
Hmm.
Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, they're gonna stand on business and stay with him regardless. Meanwhile,
They
somebody
paid
just
him.
came out, another female came out like a couple of weeks ago, was supposed to be speaking with the NFL. Next thing you know, she got a check and she's just gone on her merry way. They're gonna keep coming out. Amari Cooper has been traded. So
Hmm.
imagine that. Like we were talking on other show, everybody's like, "Hey, we get ready to trade a big name." Everybody's like, "Oh, is it Deshaun?" No, it's not. It's Amari. Amari going to
Hmm.
Buffalo to join Josh Allen and
Hmm.
company up there, and look amazing. The Bills, are looking like a figment of who they were, trying to come back into their own element. They're going to get this weapon in Amari Cooper, who has who they're going to be giving a 2025 sixth round pick. I think he's worth more than that, but it's saying they're going to give a sixth round pick to the Buffalo Bills. Excuse me, the Bills are giving the Browns
Hmm.
that. Um, Correction. Let me word all this back. The Cleveland Browns have traded Amari Cooper and a 2025 sixth round pick. Okay, that makes sense.
Hmm.
To the Bills, and the Browns are going to receive a 2025 third round pick and a 2026 seventh round pick for Amari. Do you think this is a good deal for Amari to go to Buffalo?
First off, shout out to Buffalo. They beat the Jets on Monday night.
I don't
Then the
tip, I pay
Jets,
bills.
then the Jets said, you know what? We're gonna go out and get Devontae Adams, right? Buffalo turns around and says, you know what? Checkmate. We're gonna go out and get Amari Cooper. So now we're
Oof,
better than you, and we're gonna stay better
oof.
than you. That was a
Yes.
shot at the Jets. I think that is probably a better trade than the Devontae Adams trade. Um, Amari is going to bring so much to that offense that is already good, right? You're bringing another option at receiver on offense to that team, and it's going to make them that puts them that puts them in contention, right? I
Mhm.
mean, December, November, December, January come those months where you got to see Kansas City and all these other AFC teams in the playoffs. That helps you. I think that was a heck of a pickup. I think it was a hell of a chess move by Buffalo in response to the Jets after beating them. Um, that's probably one of the best pickups that of this season. The Bills are going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, the Bills were playing chess while the Jets were playing
And
checkers. So
checkers,
checkmate
exactly.
for real, like way more serious. And shout
Uh,
out to Amari. I know he's going to be happy to escape all that drama that continues to unfold
yeah,
in Cleveland on and
yep.
off the field, and they're just not performing. I mean, if Deshaun is not injured, he got some more drama. So it's just a never-ending tale up there. I mean, it's one of these things like if would you rather have a quarterback that could perform but has all this off-field drama and occasional injuries, or a quarterback that's just underperforming and you're just losing all your games? Like, I mean, it's a no-win situation either way, but I don't know which is the better, honestly.
No, I don't. Yeah. The thing with Deshaun Watson, they paid him a lot of money, and their expectations was high, right? So now you gotta give him some more pieces. I mean, you're gonna have to get him an offensive line. I was in Cleveland when we played them, and that offensive line was in shambles. You got to give him some pieces on the offensive line. You're gonna have to give him some more pieces on offense, um, and then see what he can do. He'll get Nick Chubb back at some point. Hopefully, he's the same Nick Chubb. That was a big part of their offense.
Yeah, I totally
Um,
forgot he was out.
Deshaun Watson is just one of those quarterbacks that I'm curious to see, what his response is going to be. I mean, the feeling was so high on him when they picked him up, and that's why they took the chance with him, knowing what it was coming with. Um, but he has to perform, and he has to be there because they paid him his money. So he ain't got a choice. They ain't got a choice. It's just like Daniel Jones. At this point, we don't have a choice. We paid him. This is his last year. He has to perform. We got to get him out there. So that's what it is.
Yeah, the Browns went all in, literally, like
Yep.
he's our
They went
guy,
all in.
and that's it. So yeah,
Yep.
um as we get ready to wrap up our NFL talk here, let's talk about quarterback rankings this week, Fern, and then we're going to switch gears to college, your favorite topic. Got a lot of big stuff to
Hmm.
talk about on the college world. Got some past games to talk about, including some very
Uh,
unsportsmanlike conduct, and then we got some
yep.
big games coming up this weekend. But so let's wrap up these quarterback grades now.
Hmm.
No A's were given this week for this week's. No A pluses, no A's, only A minuses. A
Yep.
minus performances went to Lamar Jackson and Jared Goff this week for their
Hmm.
stellar performances in their last week's game, week 6 game. And some B pluses. We had a few of those. We got Jordan Love, who's back with Green Bay. You got Caleb Williams, believe it or not, is getting a B
Hmm.
plus with the Bears. He's definitely not looking like a bust. Jaden Hurts
Mm.
looking like a B plus, at least in this game. You know, it's a hit or miss. And then we got a lot of B's. We got a lot of B's. We got Baker, who turned the oven on and absolutely eviscerated and incinerated the New Orleans Saints. I'm talking about I don't. That game went left quick, and if there were any Saints left in that building after halftime, they wasted their time. They could have been doing something else with their day. And absolute routing. I mean, the total points of both teams together were like close to well, like 80 something, and that was all the points that the Saints had scored in the first two games. Derek Carr is out. Um, Alave got out. I mean, they started just wounding them left and right. Um, Derek Carr was not in that game. Excuse me. You got Spencer Rattler, who looked good. Who was trying to hang with him, but I think that Baker, just like I said, that offense for Tampa Bay, it was a sneaky game. And Tampa and New Orleans have their own little separate little rivalry within the South itself because Mr. Crablegs himself, Jameis Winston, was playing with the Saints. Then, well, he was playing with Tampa Bay. Then he left and went to the Saints. And from that point, it just seemed to be a whole different rivalry within the South itself. So Baker turned on, and I mean, that stove was on broiler. It wasn't even on 450. It was like if there was a 500 or 1,000, he was on that. So he's ranked the top B. Of course, Josh Allen and the Bills getting it done. They look good. Mr. Irrelevant himself, Brock Purdy, is on the B level, and even Atlanta Falcons, Kirk Cousins. Yes, the Panthers hung in there a while, but there you could not keep up with Atlanta's offense. The Panthers had key injuries on both sides of the ball. Shaq Thompson is out. Adam Thielen is out on the offense and defense. And Tyler Moton as well on the offense was out. A lot of special teams people out. Atlanta came in there absolutely healthy, absolutely fast, and absolutely on 10. And for the Panthers to hang in there all the way up to the half was amazing. And then all of a sudden, it was like that was it. It was lights out, and Atlanta stays at the top of the South behind the rim of Kirk Cousins. Now, we have some B minuses, which are still very good grades. You got Justin Herbert. Even though they're not looking like what people thought they would with Mr. Harbaugh coming back, he's got a B minus, and thank God his brother Jim is doing well. He had a medical emergency during the Ravens game, and so John heard about it. He was in the middle of a press conference. He left to go make a phone call to check and see if his brother was okay. His brother came out and made a statement that he's having something akin to AFib, which is a heart arrhythmia, but he's going to be just fine. So definitely prayers for him. And Aaron Rodgers, they got his garbage behind up there as a B minus, as bad as he was. And he's up right above Jaden Daniels, who, in my opinion, deserves to be above him because Jaden Daniels is playing lights out. C plus, CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Geno Smith, as well as even Joe Flacco is making an appearance, in his standby. And they even got Drake May, your quarterback, at a C plus. Now at a regular C, they got Kyler Murray for the Cardinals and Andy Dalton, our quarterback for the Panthers. C minus, Will Levis. We know why. As many touchdowns as there are interceptions. Um, Aiden O'Connell, I guess he's in for the Raiders now, so he's out there at a C minus. Then Daniel Jones. So when I mentioned earlier, I guess they gave let's see, I guess they gave, who was it, your guy?
Daniel Jones.
No, they gave mayor rating. That's why I was impressed about it. So yeah, then they also have Daniel Jones ranked up here for some reason. So he's
Mm.
ranked up there. Spencer Rattler ranked right behind him. And at a D, can you guess who got the only D? And it's the lowest grade of the whole week.
Dak Prescott.
Yes, sir. Dakota Rain, Dakota Tsunami Prescott. Because right now he is a tsunami. On Jerry Jones' birthday, we got to talk about that as we wrap up the NFL
We
segment.
have to.
Fern,
We
that's
have
in your division. Cowboy fans need to, you know what?
to.
There's no need for the rest of the season for us to hear any of that.
Dad, listen, I made a bold statement this week when I was watching some games with some friends at our Giants bar. I said that Detroit is the best. This is before the game. To me, Detroit is the best team in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. They're balanced on both sides of the ball. They have depth on both sides of the ball, and they have the will to win. They are playing with a vendetta. And I said, I feel bad for the Cowboys and what they're going to do to them on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Because I knew they were going to dismantle the Cowboys. And they did. They did a little bit more than dismantle them. They made a statement. And they lost their defensive end. That was a huge loss. He's going to be gone for the season, I think. Um, but Detroit looks like the best team in the NFL right now. That's in my opinion. And I'll say they're better than Kansas City, in my opinion, because they have more of a will to win. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But Dallas is looking like the worst team in the NFC East. I know the Giants are because of the record, but Dallas just doesn't look good. I mean, they're missing Micah Parsons; he's hurt. DeMarcus Lawrence is out. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out for. The Cowboys they don't have depth, right? They have
Mm-mm.
these star players at each position, and that's about it. It's like the guy that's on Facebook that have a stack of uh a stack of money and there's $100 bill on the top, but there's ones under. That's
Yes.
the Cowboys right
Or Monopoly money.
or Monopoly money
Even
right now.
worse.
So
Yes.
they're not tricking anybody, right? They're disguising their talent on these great players, and Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Trayvon Diggs.
And,
They
and why
disguise
did
that.
they bring Ezekiel back? For what?
Well, I can see why they brought him back for
No, I'm
depth.
saying he's just adding to the trash out there.
Yeah, they brought him back for that, especially third and fourth down, conversions that didn't get in there. I can see that, right? And Zeke started off kind of good, but now, with the holes in the offensive line, Dallas is gonna be a top 10 pick to me personally. I think we're gonna be better than Dallas going down the line. And that
Oh
scares
yeah.
me because I don't want to be better than anybody. I want a quarterback. I'm sorry. I take this season, beat there's only
Y'all can
maybe two
have
or three.
Bryce.
We would like to have them, but there's only two or three teams and I won't name them, but there's two or three teams, really two, that I want to beat this year, and that's it. I'm good to go.
I tell you, no, no, no. And listen, while we are here, if you'd like to donate to the Hurricane Relief Act, go ahead and scan the barcode that is in the top right of this show. Just donate, and to donate to support my show, you would just go ahead and go right here to support my stream. Just
Please
buy me a
donate.
cup of coffee, whatever it takes. Um, just a smile. This is all for free and all for fun, but
Yep,
a girl got to eat. Y'all know I ain't really working
absolutely.
these days. But yeah, so I mean, it's amazing, Fern, to just know and realize that these are them boys. And I'm like, at this point, you're not even these fetuses, okay? You're not even a human right now. I don't know what you are, but it takes a lot of faith. I always say, Cowboys fans may be the only ones that go to heaven because they have more faith than anybody out there.
They
And,
are.
at least when I believe that the Bible says you have to have faith beyond anything else because you
Yeah,
got
I
to be able to
must
be a
see.
believer. And I'm like, there you go, Cowboys fans. So,
Cowboy
but,
fans for
they
sure.
get obliterated on Jerry's birthday. I'm pretty sure they keep a defibrillator back there in the clubhouse somewhere because he's like, getting up there. And I know me personally how hard I go for the Panthers. I can't even imagine going that hard for the Cowboys and getting beat down like that. Like we're used to losing in Carolina. Like we're just used to it. If we got beat down like that, we'd be like, dang, that's rough. But Cowboys, it's their year every year. So they've got to be pretty hurt. We're so sorry, Cowboys fans. I mean, Fern ain't because he's in y'all's division, and we got to
Yeah,
play the Cowboys soon. I can only pray that the Panthers can really put it down like that, at least half
yeah,
of what Detroit did to them. Congratulations to Dan Campbell and company. Switching gears here, Fern, your favorite time of the show,
yeah,
last half of the show. College football last
yeah.
week, a lot of big games. I'm talking about nail biters, couple of overtime games, couple of upsets that you're like, wait a minute, is this Big Ten, 10? Since they've revamped the whole SEC, it's been a lot of extra stuff going on with Texas. And that whole Red River rivalry coming in has been amazing. They played that last week at the Cotton Bowl. But Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks allows, and I say allows because we didn't see any discipline on the sideline, one of his nasty players to spit on, and I couldn't even see the guy's name, spit on another player. Only thing they did was got him out the game. You see Landon basically tell him go on to the locker room. Didn't you should have been chewing him out. Fern, did you see that when it happened?
I, I was watching the game. I'm a big Ohio State fan. I'm pulling up this guy's name because I have a few things to say about him. But I'm a
Yeah,
big
that's
Ohio
your
State fan, so
team. That's your squad.
I watched that entire game. First off, before I get into Trayshawn Holden, we lost that game.
Hmm.
They didn't win that game. We lost it. We made some bad decisions, throughout the game. And then the last play where we could have kicked the field goal and walked off the field, where we should have ran the ball, really those last couple of plays, we throw it to to our young receiver, lights out. He catches it, pass interference on offense. I can't remember. I can't know why I can't even say his name. I said his name all week. Um,
Because he ain't
and it's a
nothing.
pet. Oh no, he's one of the best.
No, I'm
He's a
saying he's showing out like that.
he's showing out, and it was a pass interference. I don't think it was pass interference, but it was an offensive pass interference. Pushes us back. Instead of running the ball with Travion Henderson getting in field goal position, Will Howard takes off on the last play and slides with 5 seconds left.
Hmm.
Uh, that that just killed us. We could have won that game, but didn't knock us down in the ranking too far. We're still in the top four. I'll take it, right? It just motivates us. But let's get to Trayshawn Holden and that spit in the face to Igbutson, our safety. That was probably one of the most despicable things that a player can do. For
Hmm.
him, for that to enter into his mind, to do that to another, not even football, take football out of it, to another human being. If I was that safety, I'm telling you right now, he wouldn't be able to get out of that stadium. He would have been celebrating, being happy. He would have been walking out the stadium with his buddies, and he would have got two-pieced out of nowhere. You
Yeah,
spit in somebody's face. That's the ultimate disrespect. You
right.
know, and I don't think it's enough to kick him out of the game. I think he should. They said that he's gonna face some additional punishment here, but I don't think that was enough. I think he should be, really, to be honest with you, and I'm an advocate for young guys and making mistakes and doing things and not, just making mistakes and coming back from them. I think he should be out for the rest of the season. I
Yeah,
really
he
do.
really should be.
He
He
should
really
he
should
should
be.
that should leave a mark and a stain on him to where he would never ever do that again. That was one
Hmm.
of the nastiest, most despicable things to ever do. So yeah, that was horrible. And I'm not just saying because they beat our team. They beat us, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But that was disgusting.
Yeah,
That was
just in
nasty.
general. I mean, not only just disgusting, like, dude, that's your body waste. And with
Mm,
all these germs and stuff going around, like
yeah.
it's just nasty on so many levels. And
Yeah.
he does need to be he
Mm,
honestly needs to be benched,
he
If
does.
he has any NIL deals, they need to be suspended at this time. Whatever he
Mm.
has, I mean, I don't know if that's an Oregon issue, like Lanning deals with that himself, or if that's an
Mm.
FCC issue.
they're letting him deal with it himself from now, but that's going to leave a stain on him. When it comes time for him to go pro. He's spit in somebody's face. That's horrible. That's disgusting, man. That's pure disrespect of not only the game but of himself and his family. So I hate
Yes,
that.
definitely gonna be a stain. We saw can't remember who it was a couple of years ago. It was during the pandemic when they did the draft, and somebody was like, you probably know who this was. They were like picked to go in the top five, and somebody released an Instagram of them smoking weed or something, and it
Mm.
came out like right before the draft, and as a result, the person slipped down to like number 10 or something like that because of bad behavior.
That happens all the time, right? Things like that happen, and I'll be the first one to advocate. Hey, they're kids; their minds are still developing.
Yeah.
They're still trying to figure it out. As long as it wasn't nothing like detrimental, then should they slip out of it? No, their talent shouldn't suffer. Should they be held responsible? Yes. Should
Hmm.
they be disciplined? Yes. But to just slip out of, to allow something as simple as that to slip them out of the top 10 or wherever they were projected to go, that's unfortunate. But for somebody to do something as disgusting and filthy as spit on somebody or put human waste on somebody or anything, sexually towards women, anything to that effect, you don't deserve to be in the league. You don't need to be there. You just don't. So we'll see how it goes. But I think Oregon is handling internally, which I think is BS. Landon is more interested in winning. He can care
Hmm.
less about that. Holding to be a back on the field in no time.
Yeah, he's known for saying clicks and likes. By the way,
Yeah,
clicks and likes. Speaking of Deion Sanders, Deion and the Buffaloes getting it done. They were 4-1 at the time, and I think they
yeah,
won that second game. I kind of was like in and out doing other stuff, but
they
they
did.
seem to have turned their season around. And I think it could be attributed for all that fandom being calmed down, like all that rappers here and movie stars here, and that's the stop spotlight on them and like I understand you want to support, a black coach, you want to support him coming to Colorado, but
Uh,
it was so much fanfare that it was almost like away from the players themselves.
yeah, I think Colorado lost that game to Kansas State by 3 points on
By three in
uh
the end, okay. Well,
by
I knew
three
they
in the
were
end,
four
pass
and
interference.
one, so
Yeah,
now they're 4-2. So
they're four and
still
two
not
now.
not that bad. They
Mm.
only had won what three the previous year and
Yep,
one the previous year before that. So
yep.
slowly, but surely they're turning it around. And so
Mm,
congratulations to him and
mm,
Dion just became a new grandfather, so congratulations to him as well. And just, I guess now I can kind of be like, I hope they get it together and win. I just didn't like all that showy stuff. I wanted it to
mm,
stay, because kids are already going to grow up fast enough. And, just like our
mm.
parents told us, you got all your life to be an adult. Now we're seeing the same thing. We're trying to tell other people, you got all your life to be an adult. We promise you. Like once you
Yeah,
get to adulthood, that is it. There's nowhere else to go. So
there's
don't be
nowhere
in
else.
such a rush to get here because only thing is for certain is bills and you're gonna get old or pass away. And so none of those things are fun as an adult. So stay and enjoy your youth while you still have it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so some more big games, Fern, that you got a chance to check out. I'm sorry about Ohio's demise. What were
Yeah.
some big pointers of that game, other than the fact of the disgusting part that we're just going to negate and keep it moving?
Again, those cleaning up all those errors and mistakes. Will Howard, he made a statement that won't happen again. I believe him. We were a lot more talented on both sides of the ball than them. Two of our offensive linemen went out, so that didn't help at all. Um, I think this fires us up, right? We got a week off, and then I believe we go to Nebraska, if I'm not mistaken, which is going
Oh,
to be a
okay.
tough one. And
Yeah.
then after Nebraska, we got to go to Penn State at Penn State, who's undefeated right now.
Oof.
So, but I have my thoughts on Penn State. They're usually undefeated the first 5 games, and they're fool's gold to me. But that's going to be a big game for us to come back. But that's not putting anything past Nebraska. We got to get past Nebraska. Nebraska's playing well, and they're after us. Everybody's coming after our head and our crown. So I think this was a wake up call, this Oregon game. So I'm interested to see how they bounce back.
Yeah. So, got a big game coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that in a
Yes.
minute. But UGA looking stellar. I mean, is there any stopping them? They
Yep.
continue to be in the top. Alabama's not too far behind considering they don't have Nick Saban.
Georgia, they got a big test this weekend, and I
Yes,
think that's going to be a stopping point. They got to play Texas. They got to go to
yes.
Texas
The
and play them on
Longhorn.
a 7:30. That's going to be, man, the Texas number one team in the country right now.
Yes.
Texas is great on both sides of the ball too. That's going to be a heck of a challenge for them, and everybody's going to be tuned into that game. And then before that game, you got Alabama, Tennessee. Alabama looked really shaky against South Carolina this weekend. Really shaky. They could have
Yep.
easily lost that game. And now
Yep.
they go to another top 10 team.
They going to
Uh,
Rocky
to,
Mount. Is
they're
that
going to
where they
Rocky.
going, Neyland? Okay.
I think I want to say they do play
Rocky Top,
and
Neyland.
yeah, in Tennessee.
Okay.
Um, but that let's see. That's going to be a heck of a challenge for them as well. Yes, they got to go to Tennessee. Excuse me, no, Tennessee's 11. I forgot they lost the game. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. So, Sunday around 3:30. I don't think I'm gonna move off the couch because we
You
got
mean
two games back to back.
Saturday?
Saturday, excuse me, Saturday
Yeah.
around two
So
thirty.
what time is the Georgia game?
Georgia game is going to be at 7:30. Alabama, Tennessee is at 3:30. So that's going to be back to
Yeah, that's
back games.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
going to.
gonna have to
Ooh,
get all my studying done ahead of time so that I could
yeah.
just watch that and be there and everything. And hello to you, Jermaine. Thank you for tuning in tonight. He said hello everyone. He said Carolina Panthers. That's right. What's up? What's crackalacking?
Go Panthers.
Um, and he was saying Carolina Panthers. That's right. We here. We here. We, you know, Jermaine is. It's a. I don't know. Jaden Daniels better not get beat us up as a rookie. I tell you that. It's gonna be kind of like when we saw Lamar versus Jaden the previous week. And like he's like,
Yeah,
big never give up 24/7. That's exactly right, Jermaine. Thank you so much for joining us
yeah.
tonight and share our stream. Just share it, share it, share it. I mean, this is what we
Mhm.
do all the time. And I'll be back on again Friday at 9 p.m. sharp. So
Yeah.
Fern, yeah, so what would Georgia have to do to try to overcome Texas? Because it seems like a tall order, and I don't mean no jokes by that at all.
That's a very tall order. Georgia's got to play Georgia football, right? Let Texas play Texas football. They're gonna have to try to see if they can get some pressure on Quinn Ewers. Play lights out on defense. It's gonna be a close game. They're gonna have to execute midway fourth quarter. They're gonna have to stand tall, right? Because this game is gonna go down to the wire. We all know that.
Yeah.
But Georgia's going to have to play their game and not allow Texas or their fans to draw them in because it's going to be a packed house. The stadium is probably going to be the loudest it's ever been. And they're just going to have to, stay focused. Georgia, in all defense to Georgia, right? Let's look at Georgia's schedule, right? They had to go to Alabama, play Alabama at Alabama. They have to go,
Off the
they got to
rip.
play off the rip. They got to play Tennessee. They got Florida, which they have every year, which is not very good, but Florida plays them well. They have Ole Miss, another team in the top 10. They got to
Wow, they
play
had a
after.
tough schedule off the rip.
They have the toughest schedule in college football, and they managed to have one loss. If Georgia, and I'm gonna make this statement, I'm gonna make it bold. If Georgia beats Texas, I don't care about Oregon's record. I don't care about Penn State, all these undefeated teams. Georgia deserves to be number one. Whoever
Yeah.
wins this game deserves to be the number one team in the country. That's just whoever wins between Texas and Georgia deserves to be the number one team in the
And
country.
it's crazy because Texas is new to the division. Like
Uh-huh.
they bringing that to Georgia. Like, okay, it's almost like when they were working on the merger, they
Hmm.
knew the type of team. Like they were like, you know what? Let's get somebody else in there that can compete with Georgia for real, without
Yeah.
it being an up and down. And we're doing good, Jermaine. We hope you're doing well. Also, he's like, how's everyone doing tonight?
Uh-huh.
Um, Jermaine, we're talking about college football now. What do you think about the big game coming up this weekend with Georgia and Texas? Put that in the comments, and also
Mhm.
we'll allow you to dabble a little bit back in the NFL if you'd like, since you're coming on a little late. Anything you want to say about quarterback rankings, some movings throughout the league, big wins, big losses, and things like that? Put that in the chat. We'll address that on air As Fern and I only have about 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes left.
I do
Um,
want to say I'm hoping Carolina scouts are at this game,
yeah,
sniffing
because
out
there you
talent.
because the Commanders are in your division, so
Yeah, I hope
Jaden
Carolina.
Daniels looks unstoppable. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I didn't know. I know they got Dan Quinn up there as a defensive quarterback. I mean, excuse me, the defensive coordinator he is now their head coach, and that means that's a lot. You know, Dan used to be the head coach of Atlanta, and he looks like he, looked when Atlanta was in their prime.
Yeah, but I want Carolina scouts, the Panther scouts, to be at this Georgia Texas game.
Oh, I totally missed that. I thought you were
Yeah,
saying for our game.
no,
So
no
let me tell you,
scouts.
Fern, it doesn't it we can't even scout right now because we still owe Chicago one more pick next year. Like we're still
That's
paying for
fine.
stuff.
You got the second, you got the third. See what a lot of teams, what you got to realize is in order to build a winning program, right? It's not just the key players, it's the others. And Shaq,
The
I always
surrounding
take that word from
pieces.
Shaq, it's the
Yeah.
other. You got to get, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, build that team in the second, third, fourth, fifth round. So when you do and you are ready, to get a quarterback, which I hope you don't. I hope you build an offensive line and a team good enough to bring Bryce back so he can be
Sure.
successful. But go ahead and build. Now is the time for Carolina to take advantage of the third, fourth, fifth round. Build your offensive line. Build your defensive line. Get you some cornerbacks, and then look at those skill positions the year after that. But go ahead and build the trenches up so that you can be a well-rounded team around. You get a really good offensive line, really good defensive line. It'd be hard for you guys not to be contenders in the NFC South, whether you have a lights out quarterback or wide receiver or anything. As long as you got a functional quarterback back there and he's being protected, he can get the ball out. He can get the
Yeah.
ball in receivers'
It's
hand and they
almost
can run the
like,
ball.
we had the weapons we needed to have, and then
Mm-hmm,
all of a sudden it's like they don't want us, they want to keep more drama than wins.
mm-hmm,
So they, just like you
mm-hmm,
see Super Bowl teams go in and all of a sudden they implode the team and they start trading everybody everywhere.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's because the players are like, hey, I took you to the Super Bowl, I want more money. And the
Yep,
team is like, well, yeah, but you didn't win, or yeah, you won, but we can't afford because we got to pay other players too, and they
absolutely,
leave. But sometimes it's just like, okay, we'll implode the team now because nothing else is going on. We got nothing else to do. So that's kind of
absolutely.
infuriating. But yeah, I hope that some of the Panthers folks is scouting too. More big games coming up this weekend, other than what you mentioned. I mean, that Alabama matchup within itself is going to be huge because
Yes.
you're right. I mean, Clemson out there, get things. And then don't forget, South Carolina themselves have been
Mm-hmm,
looking, pretty good. It's just a really busy time of the year. It's a fun time of year.
mm-hmm,
Who would you say other than those two? Well, I don't even know, honestly, Fern. Like other than those two games, well, first of all, we know the Texas Georgia game is going to be competitive. What do you think
mm-hmm.
about the other matchup? Who do you think is going to probably come out on top of that one?
Tennessee and Alabama, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that game is going to be more interesting to me than Georgia Texas. We all know what winning that game holds, but that considering Alabama has been struggling the last few games, um, Tennessee is coming in. They're ranked 11th. They're right outside that area to make in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. If they lose another game, that may knock them out, depending on how other teams go. That is probably going to be the game that everybody should watch because that's going to determine a lot when it comes to the playoff factor. If Alabama loses this game, you can easily knock them down 3 to 4 spots. So,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, why this game is so important is between Alabama and Tennessee is either one of those teams, whoever loses that game, their chances of making the playoffs are going to be like this. So this is one of the most important games for both programs. Alabama's going to have to get it together. They're going to have to play better. Tennessee is home. They have to take advantage of that. So whoever wins that game, I think is going to go to the playoffs. Whoever loses that game, I don't think they're going to have a very slim chance of making it.
And the other big game. So now this week we know Oregon is also playing.
Mm-hmm.
You got Nebraska playing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Ohio? The Ohio State playing this weekend.
We're off this week,
I
so
was gonna ask you, were y'all
yeah.
off?
we're off this week, so we'll have Nebraska that next week.
Hmm.
But we're off this week, so it's a great week to be off, get healthy, get our minds back into the game, go in, beat Nebraska, and get ready for that prime time game against Penn State.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty big. It's
Mhm.
always these smaller schools that you don't think are really coming up, like how Vandy came up and took care of
Oh yeah,
business. Florida
Vandy
State,
just that was a
yeah,
tough
they
game.
Vandy just was like, yeah, we hear what's up.
What's up?
Yeah, what are you Florida State playing this weekend?
Not expecting anything from Florida State.
Nothing
You
at
know,
all. Just
DJ Human Glada, I forgot his name, the
mhm.
quarterback there. I heard that they're going to redshirt him again. He's going to probably be out for the season.
Oh
Florida's
wow.
Florida disappointing season. I still blame on how they were robbed last year. And I know I don't like to use excuses. I really don't. But Florida got robbed last year of making a playoff appearance. Went
Yeah, they
undefeated,
say
fell
that.
and now they're having a horrible season this year. Expectations was higher for them. This quarterback that I think he transferred 2 or 3 times. I expected him to be a lot better. I played with them. I'm a big NCAA college football video gamer. I played with
Mhm.
them. They look good on there, but but I expected a lot more from Florida State. Florida State is just going to have to chuck this season up to L, get back, recruit, and try to get back into it next year.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They actually showed up. They were the
Mhm.
ones that was I call it the cancellation game when they
Yeah.
nobody wanted to play last year. Georgia suited up and came on out, but they did not. Like they didn't dress out or nothing. I mean,
Mhm.
just a lot of people looked at it as undisciplined. They looked at it like we were robbed, we were cheated, so we're just not gonna play.
We're just not going to play. And I mean, I get it. I get it. But, I hate that for them. I really do.
Yeah, it's just some of the
Mhm.
teams. It's like you rise, and I honestly thought that Alabama was going to be like that, especially after the whole Nick Saban thing and
Mhm.
everybody trying to run to and from the transfer portal. I mean, he lost so many commitments
Mhm.
before once it was announced that he was leaving. A lot of commits was leaving left and right, but
Mhm.
looks like they found their niche regardless because Alabama's still very much relevant.
They are. They are. They just got to get it psychologically together, and I think they'll be fine. The team that I think we all need to watch out for is Clemson. I think Clemson is going to get better as time goes on. They have one loss. They're going to be a team that we got to kind of have to be careful with. The showing against Georgia, first game of the season, Georgia came out on fire. I can understand that loss, but they haven't lost since. They've been pretty
Mhm.
dominating. I'm watching. I'm keeping my eye on Clemson.
Yeah, you always got to watch out for those South
Mhm.
Carolina teams, Dabo Sweeney, all
Yep.
them dudes down there. And
Yep.
then, I mean, it's just such like a competitive division. And like
Hmm.
I said, even the Red River rivalry, Texas bringing in Oklahoma with Oklahoma State, Oklahoma,
Oklahoma, they beat the
the
Met.
Sooners.
They made a statement out of Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Oklahoma is not a bad team,
the
so
Sooners.
that
You
should put a little
rather
bit of
you will
yeah
sooner see them now
yeah
or later.
that put a little bit of a maybe that was a shot at Georgia. Like you better bring your A game because we ain't playing around.
Yeah, it was like welcome to the SEC.
Absolutely,
Fern, it's been amazing as always to have you on,
always
my brother. We're gonna link up real soon again because we got our teams will be playing across the pond, as they say.
we
Uh,
will.
and it's always a great time to have you on. We thank everybody for all the love coming on tonight. This is gonna re-air at 2 a.m. on Northeast Streaming Sports. Go ahead and put that little post up real quick for you so you guys can see that on our way out here. And make sure you stay tuned. And this is also going to air on the Huddle Sports Network tomorrow afternoon. And other than that, I'll see you guys live at 9 p.m. on Friday.